Good evening, all. I hope I'm audible enough. So we are all welcome to the today's program on analyzing interview data using ChatGPT. At Client Aspire, we intend to organize research as a research firm. We often organize research programs so that members of the public around the world, in Africa and outside Africa, can enhance their knowledge and also increase their research capability. So as we have said that today's program, we will be learning how to analyze interview data. And today we are bringing in an expert that is able to teach us from practice, from theory and practice, because apart from the fact that he used to also write qualitative papers such as using interview, systematic review, and even case papers involving case. He's going to tell us some of those things that can make our paper to scale through. He has a lot of experience as an editor also. So the person that will anchor to this program is not any other person than Dr. Lukman Rahim. Dr. Lukman Rahim is an accomplished entrepreneurship educator. He's also a researcher and a business consultant with extensive academic and industry experience. He holds a PhD in entrepreneurship and corporate social responsibility from Leicester Business School, De Montfort University, UK. He also has multiple degrees. He has multiple master's degree in economics, industrial relations and law, and also a PhD in business education. Currently, Dr. Lukman Rahim is an assistant professor of entrepreneurship and business at University Brunei Darussalam, where he leads curriculum development and industry engagement as program coordinator for business administration and entrepreneurship. Previously, he held leadership role at American University of Nigeria, including chair of entrepreneurship and deputy director of AUN Center for Entrepreneurship. With over 15 years of teaching experience, Dr. Raimi has designed and delivered courses in social entrepreneurship, research method, and entrepreneurial leadership. His research spanning over 89 publications indexed in Scopus, ABDC, and Google Scholar. And he has about 3,094 citations. He has also served in different capacities for different publishing houses, such as Emerald, Springer, and is also an editor currently with Springer in different capacity also. As far as I know, in 2025, he has about 8 publications that have been published and accepted between January and February 22 as of today, which include Q1 and Q2 papers. Dr. Raimi expertise in entrepreneurship, his expertise include entrepreneurship education, research, and mentorship. Permit me to call on Dr. Lukman Raimi to commence the training. Prof. Sir, you have the floor. Thank you for accepting our invitation. Thank you, sir. I will stop sharing so that you can share your screen as well. Thanks. Prof, you can unmute yourself. Prof, you can unmute yourself.
Hello, everyone. You're all welcome to this training program. And if you like, you can also call it a workshop, which is designed to boost the capacity of academic-minded people. By academic-minded people, I mean students, lecturers, researchers, among others. And in recent times, this is the largest webinar I've delivered in terms of participants. Already is over 100, and people are joining from other platforms. So going straight to the business of the day, the purpose of this particular workshop is to teach us how to analyze interview data using ChatGPT. So let me go to the learning objectives. So for this particular webinar, we are looking at actualizing two important objectives. The first one is to discuss the foundational issues of the interview-based survey. We can't just jump into, interview data without knowing the foundational issues. Then after understanding the foundational issues, then we'll explain how to leverage ChatGPT for analyzing interview data. So let's go to the definition, which is one of the foundational issues. When we talk about the definition, we are talking about what is an interview? What do we mean by an interview? So interview is a qualitative data collection method where the researcher or the investigator asks respondent or interviewees questions for the purpose of gathering pieces of information for further analysis. So when you see a police officer at a crime scene asking questions, what the police officer is doing is an interview. When you see a journalist asking questions about an event, whether positive or negative, what that person is doing is an interview. And if you see a professor interviewing ex-presidents, senators on critical national and international issues, it is an interview. And when you see a student leaving the campus and meeting with the chiefs, the bales, the aces, the emirs, asking about a number of social, cultural, religious issues, it is interview. So whenever the interview is concluded, that is not the end. The student, the professor, the police, the journalist, they will go back to their offices to go and do what is called further analysis. So when you conduct an interview, it is just a means to an end, not an end in itself. Also, interview allows for an in-depth exploration of a topic. All the questions you have gathered, all the jottings you have made, you now listen to them. You now think on them. You now digest them to understand them better, to know area of convergence, divergence, and you capture what we can call the opinions, the experiences, and the insight of the participant or respondent or interviewees. Interviews can be conducted face-to-face. That is one channel. Another one is via interview. I can place a call across to the presidency, across to my professor, across to the king, across to other people. And while the conversation is on, I will be recording that particular conversation. And you can also conduct interview through video conferencing. You can organize a Zoom meeting, a webinar, where you gather 2, 3, many people, and you discuss. While you are discussing, the proceeding The question and answer session is being recorded. So it's still referred to as what? An interview. So in terms of classification, the interview belongs to the interpretivist research paradigm, because in the mainstream research philosophy, we have what we call research paradigm. And there are two basic paradigms, although now it is three. The first one is what is called positivism. That is the methodology of those who normally focus using strict scientific approach. They go to the laboratory to conduct experiments. They can use human, they can use animal. They go to the society, they distribute questionnaire and reduce all the information to 1 and 2, or they use a scale, Likert scale 1 to 4, Riker scale 1 to 5, Likert scale 1 to 7, or they use some ordinal, approach of ranking, strongly agree among others. At the end of the day, all their information will be subjected to 1, 2 figures. However, interview is based on the information received. What is your name? My name is this. How do you source your income? I work as a barber. You gather all this. At the end of the day, you interpret what you have collected. And that is why it is called interpretivism paradigm. And when you merge both, that is what is called pragmatism. So we are not going into that, but we need to understand this foundational issue before we dabble into data analysis. So common types of interviews. You can conduct interview using structured interview, semi-structured, or unstructured. What is structured? It means you have a predetermined question. You are going out to ask 15 questions, and you are not going outside that particular 15 questions. Number 1, can I meet you? Number 2, what is your position? Number 3, you tell us about how you started your business. You follow that particular question strictly as laid down in your interview schedule. No deviation. Number 2 is semi-structured. Some questions are fixed but flexible. You may ask, what is your name? Later on, you may decide to ask some other, do you have nickname? And so many things that are not really written down before, you can add like spices to the fixed question. That is why it's called semi-structured. But the unstructured is open-ended conversation without a rigid format. You didn't set out with question, or you set out with question, you ignored it. You started asking question, what is your best food, which is not part of what you started with. You just ask in a manner that is not structured, although that is not very good for academic research, but for other type of interview, it may be very useful. But those that are useful for academic research are structured and semi-structured. But the best is structured because you have research objective and you have research question. So the interview question you are asking should relate to your research question. That is why it should be structured. And it could also be semi-structured because you may realize that, yes, your interview question have been fixed, but you discover that some things needs to be added. So you can also go outside what you have set out to do. So interview structure is used in qualitative research to understand social phenomenon, and you can also use it to complement quantitative research for structured response gathering. For those who use questionnaire, after you have asked all your questions, you may leave a particular question open. That please, based on all your options that you have ticked, do you have other views, other suggestions, other recommendations? So this is where you can use the interview in conjunction with the quantitative. And you can also ask it, directly from those you have targeted. But the common practice is to ask that question like an interview question in your questionnaire as the last question. At the end of the day, you analyze it the way you analyze the common interview question. The reason why you do that is to have depth. You want in-depth diversity. You want to give people opportunity to express themselves rather than strongly agree, neutral, blah, 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 blah. So it allows for depth and it allows for opinionated perspective on critical issues. So like the questionnaire and other instruments, ethical consideration is very, very important. Before you interview people, there is a need for informed consent. They must give you the permission that we have accepted to be interviewed and we know the purpose of the interview and we have been assured that whatever we say is personal, is private to the researcher, is not going to be extended to third party, confidentiality, neutrality, impartiality, among others, will be observed. So the third issue that I want to mention is that when you talk about interpretivism, which is the paradigm that supports the interview, there are two paradigmic interpretation of interpretivism. That is, in your interview-based survey, the question, the topic, the approach may fall under two areas or two sub-paradigm. That is a better word. Interpretivism is a paradigm, but it has two sub-paradigms. One is called constructivism, then the other one is phenomenology. So we need to tell you all this because it's going to affect the way you analyze and the nature of your questions and how you are going to go about framing your topic. So regarding the first one, constructivism, in terms of epistemology, constructivism posits that the knowledge is socially constructed through interaction and experience. So if you are conducting interview for people, the information you gather, you are going to sit down like an architect to construct them to make meaning based on what you gather, your observation, your interaction. And that is why it is called constructivism. So as a researcher, if you set out with that constructivist perspective, then you aim to understand how people construct their reality. For instance, some people, when they have bad dream, they interpret it to be maybe a sort of inspiration from the devil. Maybe the witches and wizards, among others, are responsible. But for some, they will interpret it as maybe the type of experience they had before sleeping, the type of food they ate before sleeping, among others. Some even interpret it as the last thoughts they had before sleeping, that is responsible for nightmare. You can see that people construct different interpretation for bad dream, or what is called nightmare. So based on your interview, you now be able to interpret, you construct the meaning of bad dream or nightmare based on the way people construct it and based on the way you interacted with them, among others. So your interview, if it is based on constructivism, should be open-ended and there should be depth. When you're asking, don't ask them closed-ended, make it open. Do you have dream regularly? Yes. Have you been privileged to have bad dreams? What are the type of bad dreams you had? And what are the things? So you go into that particular interview in depth to be able to explore the interpretation of that particular person, and that will help you to construct the answer or the findings. Also, researchers acknowledge their influence in shaping the data. Based on your experience and the type of approach you set out is going to affect how you reflect on the data and how you ask questions repeatedly, what is called iteration or iterative process in asking questions. So a very good example of constructivism is, how do you perceive and make sense of entrepreneurship in your community? So this type of question, you want to probe deeper to understand the perspective of that particular person, to be able to construct their own meaning, their own interpretation, their own perception of what entrepreneurship means to them in their own community. At the end of the day, the outcome, findings are subjective. and shaped by participant background, interaction, and context. So this is what is called constructivism. You are constructing your findings based on the information you gather from that particular person, based on the meaning that particular person gave to that particular construct called entrepreneurship, called nightmare, and so on and so forth. The second sub aspect of interpretivism is phenomenology. Here, phenomenology focuses on understanding lived experience from the participant perspective, emphasizing conscious and meaning. If you want to understand how people cope with difficult times now in Nigeria, because of inflation, because of difficulty, you visit people, ask them questions, observe them, and you'll be able to gather how they actually live. The focus is to uncover essence of a phenomenon: inflation, unemployment, difficult times, and so on and so forth. If somebody is bereaved, somebody lost the head of the family, how do they cope? You want to understand that particular phenomenon of deaths of the breadwinner. So the experience of individuals, among others, their opinion, their responses will help you to understand the difficulty. So the type of interview will be semi-structured or unstructured. Why? Because you are probing phenomenon, unlike constructs. This is a phenomenon. This is an experience. How they live, how they cope. A woman with 4 children who lost the husband. So this requires semi-structured, not structured. Because if you're asking that particular question, something may happen. The woman may start crying. Something that is not part of your, interview question will come. Sorry, madam, I hope I've not offended you. Can we call it off? Oh, don't worry, I will rest. So you can't really have a structured approach to phenomenology. So that is why it is semi-structured or at times unstructured. Bracketing is used. Researchers set aside their own bias. You throw away your own perspective of that particular phenomenon when you are investigating a phenomenon. For instance, when we say witchcraft or wizardcraft, if you're a Muslim or a Christian, we're already judgmental that witchcraft, wizardcraft, they are bad, they are wicked. So if you want to investigate witchcraft and wizardcraft using phenomenology, you first keep your Islam or Christian at home, and you now go there with open mind. You meet the witches during their meetings, you interact, because if you don't keep away your bias, you won't be able to appreciate the phenomenon. But if you go there with the bias, already they are wicked people, they are going to hellfire, they suck blood, and so on and so forth, you won't get the facts about witches and wizards. So that is why those in art and humanities, when they are investigating certain phenomenon, they take away their own bias. Even those you call detectives. Detective may be a Muslim, a devout Muslim. The detective may be a devout Christian. He may even be from Mountain on Fire. But if he's investigating a criminal issue relating to the church or the mosque, he's going to throw away born again Muslim, because you are going to be biased. You want to say, it's my brother, it's a brother in our church. You want to be lenient. You won't get to the bottom of the case. So you act as a police officer. You shout when you're supposed to slap. You slap when you're supposed to slap, so that you get out the information as quickly as possible. Example, can you describe your experience of being an entrepreneur in your community? Can you describe your exploit in wizardcraft and witchcraft? How do you go to your meetings? Do you really suck blood? Is it true that there are white witches, that there are black witches? So all these questions are very, very important. At the end of the day, the outcome, you start seeing themes coming out from that phenomenon. Those themes are what you put together to really shape and experience and explain your experience regarding the lived experience, the lived reality of entrepreneurship, wizardcraft, witchcraft, among others. So this is the tabulated table. You can look at this later on, comparison of both. So if you don't know whether you are following constructivism or phenomenology, you won't be able to relate with your data very well. You won't be able to immerse yourself very well, and you'll be able to pick whether structured question, unstructured question, or semi-structured. So if you know your own sub-paradigm, is going to help you in shaping your data collection, interpretation, and how you relate with your interviewees. So which one to choose? If your research question is about how people construct meaning, you are investigating in how people construct meaning to a phenomenon or to a subject, then you are going to use constructivism. But if you are looking at how people live, how they cope with a particular concept, a particular phenomenon, then that is phenomenology, because you are looking at that personal lived experience. But the other one, how do they construct? What definition do they give this one? But the other one is not about definition. How do they live within that particular experience? And that is what you are setting out. So both approaches can be valuable in an interview-based survey, depending on whether you are exploring how meaning is created, which is constructivism, or the essence of the experience, which is phenomenology. So these are the things we need to understand. The fourth one, before we go to the main issue, is sample size for interview. So many people have the wrong notion that interview survey, or what we call interview, is not scientific, it's not empirical. That is wrong. When you say something is scientific, something is empirical, something is really systematic, it simply means it is methodical. It follows a particular approach. So using questionnaire, using interview, using observation, using what we can call ethnography, all these are scientific methods. The only difference, all these are empirical methods. The only difference is that they follow different approach in scientific realm, and they follow different methods, and they also follow different systematic approach. Therefore, if you want to make your interview reliable, just like the quantitative research, you need to determine sample size. Some will tell you in interview, there is no sample size. You can take any number you like. No, that is wrong. That is wrong. So in quantitative research, as well as qualitative research, there is minimum and there's also maximum. Because if you don't have the minimum, then your research will not be representative. Your findings will not be representative, and it will be very difficult for you to generalize. So according to Guest, Burns, and Johnson, in their popular research methodology, they said, when you talk about sample size in qualitative research, particularly interview, you stop when you gather your data to the point of saturation. Saturation simply means at a point when you interview people and you add more people, you are not getting new information. They are still repeating what others have said. So stop your interview. That is what is called point of saturation. So they said that where no new information emerges, often within the first 12 interview, you should have reached point of saturation. Whereas in some basic elements for meta teams, we are present as early as a 6 interview. So it's been confirmed that some people, after interviewing about 6 persons, they are no more getting new facts, new information. For instance, you have interviewed maybe 4, 5 witches and wizards, and they have told you what is witchcraft, what is wizardcraft, their best practices, what they eat, do they suck blood, do they not suck blood, and invited 7th person saying the same thing. It means after the 6th person, you should stop. You have reached saturation. So another leading scholar in methodology, that is Creswell. For those who have done PhD, they will know Creswell. Creswell recommended conducting between 5 to 25 interviews for phenomenology studies and emphasizing that exact number should align with the study's purpose and depth. So if you are using constructivism, you may not need up to 25, but if it is phenomenology, they recommend between 5 and 25. So we can come to the conclusion that when it comes to interview, the minimum could be 5, the maximum could be 25 based on what Creswell said. However, Warren suggests that for a qualitative research to be considered comprehensive and publishable, especially for those who are doing PhD, masters, among others, they recommended between 20 and 30 interviews, they advise. But Creswell said between 5 and 25. You will observe that your lecturer will always telling you 5 is too small, pick 10, pick 15. So you can use some of this information to justify why you have picked 5, why you have picked 25, why you have picked 20, why you have picked 30. Then Guest et al. Said while saturation can occur early, they acknowledge that larger sample size may be necessary. So Guest said, as far as he is concerned, he will only recommend that continue to interview until you attain saturation. When you are getting repetition, no more new information, then stop. Then report that I set out with 25, but after reaching 15, 12, I was getting repetitive information, no new insight, so I now stop. That is what is called point of saturation. So with this particular point, I'll be able to address the question people normally ask. Oh, in interview, there's no minimum, there's no maximum. That is wrong. There's minimum, there's maximum, but you'll be guided by the principle of saturation. Then how do you analyze the interview data? Yesterday, I sat, at a panel, for Viva, PhD work. So I was the internal examiner. This issue came up. The student concerned did a very good data analysis on interview. But when I asked, what is the techniques with which you analyze the interview, he couldn't tell me. He just collected interview data, he started analyzing. So he's using the traditional approach. He does not even know what it's called. So that is why I want to take you through the techniques for analyzing interview data. The most popular techniques are: 1, thematic analysis. The second is content analysis. The third is narrative analysis. The fourth is discourse analysis. The fifth is grounded theory analysis. The fifth or sixth, IPA, which is called interpretative phenomenological analysis, and the last one, framework analysis. So what do they mean? When you say thematic analysis, this identifies, analyzing, and report pattern. Based on the findings you have collected from respondents, you start looking at patterns based on the transcript. It involves coding, categorization, and team development. Based on the definition of A, B, C, D, you start identifying themes. Oh, in the period of inflation, many people said they reduced their consumption from 3 square meal to 2 square meal. You can call that cost reduction. Cost reduction. So many said, we are no more going to parties. That is a theme. Many people describe in different ways. They stop going to party because party is waste of time. Another one could be waste reduction. They recycle food. Instead of throwing food in dustbin, they put it in fridge. That is another thing, waste reduction. So all these are what we call theme. People didn't use that word, but based on what you have read, there are different interview reports or answers. You are able to create code, themes, which you are going to use later on. The second one is content analysis, systematically categorizing verbal or textual data. The phrases, the clauses, long sentences that have been used repeatedly, that reoccurs in form of phrases, clauses, concept. You categorize those things as, a content that you are going to use in interpreting your findings. So can be qualitative, interpreting meaning, or quantitative frequency of those statements. The other one, which is the traditional, is the narrative. This is the storytelling approach. Most people still do it, especially those in art, humanity. You examine the stories and the experience. For instance, the issue of witchcraft and wizardcraft, narrative could be very, very important. Based on the 12 witches and wizards you interview and your experiences with them, you can tell a story out of it. Focus on how individuals construct their life narratives. Used in psychology, sociology, and media studies. Then discourse analysis. You study language use, social context, and communication pattern. From the findings, you try to look at the discourse, the language that they have used that are common. Maybe they are using things like patriotism. They are using things like exploitation. A typical Nigerian, if you ask them about all the government in Nigeria, they will describe them in different languages, but the word corruption, exploitation, lack of fear of God will continue to come out. So all these, you can categorize it within the discourse analysis, because people use it a lot. Bad governance, bad people, corrupt government, and so on and so forth. Grounded theory, develop theories from data. So you don't start your research with any theory, but from the data you have gathered while analyzing it, you start framing theories that relates to the experience, the construct, the phenomenon that you have gathered in that particular interview. So this involves constant comparison of what A said, what they just said, what B said, iteratively coding until you are able to conclude all the analysis. IPA, interpretative phenomenon analysis, focus on understanding how participants make sense of their experience. For those who use phenomenology as their framework for conducting interview, you can use this or you use any other that we have mentioned. The most important thing is to explain the phenomenon clearly based on the perspective of the interviewees, not you. Used in psychological and healthcare research, involve detailed examination of lived experience. So you relate with people, you meet them in their home, in their offices, in their place of work, and you gather information from them and you analyze those using IPA. And the final one, framework analysis. You can decide to come up with a particular framework that at the end of this particular interview, I want to classify everything into 5 segments. Or I want to use a popular strategic management theory framework like SWOT analysis: strength, weaknesses, opportunities, and maybe opportunities and SWOT: strength, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Or I want to use another one called PESTEL. I want to look at the political angle, the economic angle, social angle, technological angle, ecosystem angle, and of course the legal angle. That is PESTEL. So there are so many frameworks in strategic management, in art. You can even develop your own framework, like the good, the bad, and the ugly of witchcraft. I want to look at witchcraft. At the end of the day, whatever I gather from the witches, I'm going to analyze them based on the good, the bad, and the ugly. So this is a framework. So when you are reading the views of A, B, C, you start classifying them. All the good, put them somewhere. All the bad, put them somewhere. All the ugly, put them somewhere. At the end of the day, you come up with what we can call an analytical framework. And at the end of the day, you can use statistical tool to manage your verbatim information. The information you have recorded, you are going to transcribe it into words. You write them down verbatim. When you write them verbatim, either in MS Word or in Excel, you now use this statistical tool to analyze them. NVivo, Atlas T, Mazda QA, SPSS, R, SAS, and AI ChatGPT. NVivo is very expensive and very difficult to understand. Atlas is also friendly, easy to understand, but you spend a lot of time understanding it, and some of these things, ChatGPT can do them within 2 to 30 minutes. Mass QA, Mass QDA, I learned it, I know it, is also complex. You still manage it, it takes a lot of time. If you want to use SPSS, you first convert from verbatim to text, and you convert those tests into frequency, and based on that, you can use SPS to generate percentage, to draw graph, the same thing with R, SAS, and all these are very, very expensive, time-consuming, but ChatGPT is very, very accessible and cheap. So that is why we are learning AI ChatGPT today. So I'm coming back to this because when you use ChatGPT and you are not using it well, it may accumulate what we can call plagiarism and some other digital footprints, and your work may not be original. So we'll come back to that. So to go back to why we are here, if you have ChatGPT, you can open it. So there is a paid one, there is free one. Both are useful. You can use OpenAI ChatGPT or DeepSeek is also good. Then you create dialogue prompt, that is instruction. I'm going to do that while you watch. Then you generate your your interview transcript, the information that you have put in Excel or Microsoft Word, the verbatim information from your interview. Then you copy draft into a new file, and then you start to go. So let me just exit this for now so that I want to share my screen. So let me open a new place. Okay. So I want everyone to look at this. Can you see my ChatGPT interface? Can you all see it?
Yes.
Yeah. So this is ChatGPT interface. So I'm going to exit. I want to show you what is called transcript. I've conducted an interview and I have transcribed all the information. So let me show you, because that is what we are going to use for this activity. So look at the screen now, and so this is Excel. This is Excel. You can see that this is an interview. So I created, this is question 1 here. You can see, can I meet you? What is your job title in your company? So I interviewed 21 persons. This one said, head of this group, up to, look at this. You can see about 22, 23 persons. That is their responses. So what I did was to remove the irrelevancies. Said, okay, because in interview, you have to be anonymous. You don't need the name of the person. What you need is the position. You don't even need the name of the organization. You make it, if you interview 7 organizations, call them A, B, C, D, E, F, or organization 1, organization. So you don't need their name. There is privacy, there is confidentiality. So when I said, can I meet you? He said, yes. This head of, what I need is head of aviation business. Somebody said group head of treasury. Then what are your academic and professional qualifications? They mention it. Oh, I hold a Bachelor of Science in economics, blah, 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 in 19. So what I need is the bachelor. So I summarize what I need. This is the transcript. You can see different qualification of 22 or 23 persons. The third question, To which segment of the telecom industry does your company belong? So I classify into small, medium, and large. So they all responded, some large, small, and so on and so forth. So this preliminary question are what we call demographics. Whether you are using interview or questionnaire, there is a need for demographics. We need to know the person you are interviewing. Who are they? What are their demographics? You know, the position they hold, the experience they have, what they do. All these are very, very important. So from question 1 to question 5, they are basically demographics. Particularly look at question 5. I said, how long have you been playing that role? Which is role number 4. What is your leadership status or role? Because the question we are asking is about the experience, phenomenology. So this particular research is both constructivism and phenomenology. So we need to know the person who is telling us the experience of that particular person in that particular role to be able to appreciate if the person actually understood that particular construct very well. Then how does it relate with that particular thing that we want to ask, which is entrepreneurial leadership? That is phenomenology. We now ask on question 5, how long have you been playing that particular role? Some said 5 years, some 6 years, some 6 years, some 1 year. So asking demographic question will add credibility to what you are doing, that you have actually consulted the right people. Then from question 6 to about question 15, it relates to the thematic issues. The real question. Look at number 6, for instance. I said, what does entrepreneurial leadership mean in your organization? In the literature, in management, they have described entrepreneurial leadership in different ways. We are not interested in that because they are already in the literature. Now we are asking people on the field, what does entrepreneurial leadership mean to you and to your organization? They gave different, interpretation, very long. You can see, I put everything in. These are verbatim things that they have said. So you put all this in Excel or MS Word. So when you have this type of thing, this is what is called a transcript. You transcribe from recorded voice, from video into letters, words, because interview analysis deals with words. Although there's a particular software also in AI where you can upload the voice. It's going to download everything for you and going to analyze it. But that is not where we are going. We are using today content and thematic analysis. So when you have all these questions, question 6 up to question 10, so you now use it. I want you to look at something under, okay. So this is question 6 up to question 10. They relate to the real question on the topic being investigated. We are looking at the impact of entrepreneurial leadership on business performance. So we ask questions on what is entrepreneurial leadership, what are the traits of entrepreneurial leaders, what are the measurement of performance, do you think entrepreneurial leadership is in your organization, what are the signs in the performance of your organization, and we got so many things as researchers. But we can't publish this. They are raw information. You need to analyze them, and we don't want to use MassQDA. We don't want to use Atlas. We don't want to use NV because they are expensive and they are also not readily available. So, but you can use ChatGPT. To use ChatGPT, you create what is called prompt. Prompt simply means a statement. Let me click this place. Look at this. I said, create a data extraction table for all the demographics. I can pick all the demographics and ask the table. Let me first do that. Let me create this one. Although with the Excel, it is partially created, but I just want you to have experience of using prompts. Okay, let me go to the, okay, this is my interface. So look at the interface. I dropped this particular instruction. I said, create a data extraction table for all the demographics. So let me copy 3 of the demographics together. I have them here. You just copy them verbatim. Can you see the Excel? What can you see? Hello? Hello? So once you copy it, then come back to the open bracket, then drop it into the bracket like this. Then click this. And so it's going to give me a table of the analysis. So let's expect that soon. So it's working on my instruction. I just want to see how the table will look. So instead of doing it manually, it's going to organize it in a way that will look nice. And you can now so can you all see the table is nice now. You can copy it the way it is and put it in your reports. You can see it has organized it in a very nice way, very neat. If you copy it, it's going to give you a very nice table. And it's original, it's yours. So I may now ask, let me ask, in 100 words, explain in details the table and the implication and the implication. So this is a prompt. I have the table already. I want you to explain that table for me. That is on demographics. So this is the explanation and the implication of that. So the table compiles demographic details from leadership role across telecoms and related industry, including job title. Those are the areas focused. The diversity of qualification from technical degree up to. So this is very interesting. This is very, very interesting. So if you like, you may also instruct the ChatGPT to provide convergence and divergence regarding the following. That is academic qualification, terms of company size, which one is in large quantity. You can even ask to quantify, put percentage, put number. He's going to do it for you. He's going to count the number of large, small, medium. So if you want to do that, so I'm just telling you that it is whatever instruction you give that the ChatGPT is going to give you. This is very interesting. You can copy it and put it in Word. Then you clean it up, rephrase, paraphrase, just to remove what we call digital footprint and plagiarism, and to make everything your own 100%. But let me pick the real reason why we are here, which is the content analysis. So I'm going to question 6, which is a real interview question. What does entrepreneurship leadership means? So I just copy it. Then I will now come to the prompt. This is the prompt. I'll say conduct. Let me use capital letter. You can use small letter. Conduct a content analysis on the interview question 6 as provided by the 22 interviewees. So you open bracket. I want to add something. Tag each interviewee as A, B, C, D, and so on. So I'm giving an instruction. So I will now drop what I have copied. This is what I have copied. I've copied all this is quiz. The question is there. The system actually understood the way the questions are being aligned and is going to execute. So execute. So content analysis. All right, the request is to analyze response from the interview on the question. So I will code key. So it's generating the code on its own. It's bringing out the code on its own, doing background analysis, things that humans cannot do. It's doing it faster, better, quicker, than what most of us can do. So it has given me a summary. I now say, I make it detailed. Make it detailed content analysis with verbatim quotes where necessary. And add the interviewees. So when you are using ChatGPT, you are using it as an instrument. Don't approach it as something to do your work for you. It has given us a summary. It said interviewee A, stress, responsibility, and accountability. Why B, emphasizing calculated risk take in their own definition. C, highlight ownership and value. D, focus on opportunity locking. But I want it to be more detailed so that I'll have a robust information. So let's revise and make it more detailed. So I don't want to lose the information above because it's rich. So let's see what it's going to give us. So I want it to be richer. Now it's providing about 200 words. If you like, you can make it 300, but I don't want to specify number of words because this is a workshop. Look at it. It said, the response to interview question provide numerous interpretation of entrepreneurial leadership. 1, responsibility and accountability. So interview A, believe. So you can see this is what is called the content analysis. It's analyzing the content. Very detailed. Very detailed. So it's giving us some responses to justify. A defines as this. Just to reinforce, for those who pick responsibility and accountability, it gave us 2 catchy definitions from A and P interviewees. Some define entrepreneurial leadership based on risk-taking and innovation. It now use B. And F, J, and K, they provide similar focus. These are the things that will take you 6 months, but is able to analyze them. Some define it in terms of opportunity creation and strategic vision. So these are the codes that the first result did not give us, but now with more prompt is giving me more coding based. So, and this is overall, the responses depict entrepreneurial leadership as a blend of accountability, calculated risk taking, innovation, strategic opportunity creation, collaboration, empowerment, and adaptation, an approach that drives both business acumen and cultural dynamism. And because I'm a scholar of entrepreneurship, this particular findings aligns with the definition in the literature, which shows that I'm really on track. I'm really on track. So we have analyzed question 6. You can see. So just copy it, put it in your draft. Then you come back to rework it, to make it nice, to reflect your own input, so that people don't say you plagiarize. Although we are working with real data, all these data are generated from your Excel. It's using what you have given the system. It's not changing those words. So it's not a case of plagiarism. And that is why in interview, you quote extensively from what the interviewees have actually provided you. So let me go back and pick another question. Question 6, the same thing. Because I'm working with ChatGPT, I don't have to reframe. I will just ask it to do the same thing to this. So conduct a content analysis on question 7 as you did above. This is an algorithm that thinks like human, so I don't want to repeat the prompt. It's going to execute it because the information is still in its memory, so it's executing question 7. So it's working based on that particular instruction. It's going to analyze this. So for question 7, you can see the analysis. So A, you can see detailed content analysis of interview 7. He said the responses from interview reflect a broad spectrum of entrepreneurial leadership traits visible in top management, underscoring qualities such as resilience, innovation. So you can see, he said regarding resilience, interview E talks about resilience. R also talk about resilience and what we call adaptability, whereas interview B mentioned this. So you can see that there's a difference between, in the same organization, different people, but with content analysis, we're able to bring their ideas together. So in conclusion, below is a detailed content analysis with each interviewee, tag and key themes identified along with verbatim excerpt as appropriate. So you are going to see some statement as so if you are not satisfied, you may also please add some verbatim catchy quotes where necessary. So let's see, it's going to add that also. So we are generating information that we are going to need in writing it's written already, but we shouldn't rely on everything given to us. We work, instead of using 6 months, we are going to use maybe 6 weeks. So that's the beauty of using ChatGPT. It's only helping you in guide. You can see for interview A, it said this is a necessary code that can enhance what you are doing. Doggedness, determination, courage, and adaptability. For E, he mentioned it. For M, you don't code verbatim in content analysis. You code verbatim to support your content analysis where necessary. So this is the analysis of question 2. This is the analysis of question 2. Somebody may ask, what is the difference between content analysis and thematic? So let me instruct this system that based on the data for questions 6 and 7, conduct a thematic analysis on both questions and provide detailed reports of 700 words. So the content analysis, I want you to show also frequency and percentages. Frequencies and percentages. So in bracket, I said including. So all these things, you know them when you practice them. And it's an evidence that you have actually done your research yourself, not that a computer is doing it for you. So that is why I'm taking you through this approach. Know how to speak to the AI algorithm, get what you want. So I've taught you using 2 good questions on content analysis, and I want the system to convert it to thematic for me. So let's see what we are going to get. Are you with me? Are you people with me? Let me check the chat box. I taught you. Are you with me? Nobody is talking.
With me? Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, I want to be sure that people are really following.
Yes, they are responding on the chat box, sir.
Okay. So this is thematic analysis being done. So let me ask, put it in a table. Put in a table form. So thematic analysis, I want it to be in a table form for both questions. So you are going to see question 6 and 7 in a table. Then I will now ask the system to explain again. Yeah, it's doing the, you can see. So for question 6, this is the thematic. Can you see it? What does entrepreneurial leadership mean in your organization? Look at the themes. Look at the frequency. Look at the percentages. Look at the verbatim quotes to support some of the ones that are very, very catchy. So that is for the question 6. For question 7, what traits or qualities of entrepreneurial leadership are visible in top management? And this, when you copy this into Word, it's going to be neat. It's not going to, be disorganized. Neat, as if you have generated them using Excel. The line, everything, the column, the line, the column, the row, everything will be intact. All you need to add, just put source, content analysis, thematic analysis, Then these are the explanation for question 6, explanation for question 7. Just copy the implication of the 6 and 7. So this is the difference between content analysis and thematic analysis. So when people tell you that you can move from qualitative to quantitative, we have done that in our thematic analysis. We're not just using as team. I say those teams, help me count them. The teams that are converging, frequency is 7. The one that is different from this case is 9. Accountability is 6. At the end of the day, everything is summed up in form of frequency and percentage. You can sum them up in the number of respondents and also percentage, which is over 100. So you can transfer this into SPSS, and it's going to do it quantitatively for you. So you can do that using thematic analysis. So for interview, in my own PhD, I use both content analysis and thematic analysis. Then it was the era of NVivo. I learned NVivo. I used it, but at a stage I was confused. I started using the manual approach. But now with ChatGPT, you can do what you ordinarily should do in 6 months in just 6 weeks or even 6 hours if you are very, very smart. So I don't want to repeat the process because it's still the same thing. If you go to question 8, question 9, up to question 10, it's still the same process. Convener, I hope this suffices. So let me go to what I skipped earlier on to conclude. So I skipped a particular one because today, when you use ChatGPT for things, people complain of plagiarism, digital footprints. So what I have taught my student is a strategy called CRIPT. CRIPT strategy emphasizes that you must ensure that all your write-up, all the things you generate, from the ChatGPT, these are original work from you, from your data set. ChatGPT did not manufacture them. Even with that, you still need to do some cleanup. So you follow the strategy called CRIPT. The first one is use ChatGPT creatively, and that's exactly what I have exemplified. Use it responsibly. We are using real data. We are not forging data, so that is responsibility. Use it ethically. We are not asking ChatGPT do our work for us. No, we are the owner of the work. We own the topic. We own the process. We conducted interview. We are only using it ethically to help us shorten the number of hours, to help us think, to help us extrapolate, to help us capture things, to help us code, even to help us to make things very cheap. Mazda QA is expensive. It's around 400 US dollars. We don't have such money, so we are using it ethically. Professionally, when we now harvest all the information, we now use our MS Word to write in our own style. You are not going to change all those things, but there are some things you clean up because machine has a way of writing things. So write to use your own creativity while retaining the important details. Look at the table, for instance. You can't change the table, thematic table. You leave it the way it is. Verbatim, you leave them the way it is because those verbatim were extracted from your Excel. But your style of writing paragraph, your style of justifying your argument, you bring those ones into your discussion. So that is what is called professional write-up. So please be informed that an interview-based survey is scientific, empirical, and methodical if you know how to use it to produce a rich and in-depth academic paper. AI is useful and effective in analyzing interview data using content, thematic, and narrative analysis. It is also cost-effective, transparent, and experiential. You can see you have gathered a lot of experience. You are relating with the machine. You are telling the machine, do this, do that, change it, refine. So you can defend this anywhere because you are immersed in the use of that particular machine. And that is what is called co-learning, co-development, and co-creation. Thank you for your rapt attention. Is it useful? I want a feedback from you. Is it useful? Is it worthwhile? Okay. So somebody may ask, have you used it? I've published so many, in future, I may also teach you how to use this for systematic literature review, discourse analysis, and so many things. It's very, very useful. If you use it as a co-creation, not a document, so, I mean, a tool to do the work for you. Somebody may ask, have you used it? I've published so many, in future, I may also teach you how to use this for systematic literature review, discourse analysis, and so many things.
Prof, are you done?
Yeah, I'm done.
Oh,
if you use it as a
thank you for the thought-provoking lecture.
Document.
The lecture is very interesting and well loaded. So at this point, we have some people that want that raise up their. Let me unmute them.
Okay, please do. Please do.
This for systematic literature review, discourse analysis, and so many things.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah,
Can you hear me, sir?
I can hear you, but there's echo somewhere.
Provoking lecture.
document.
The lecture.
I think
Why are we having echo?
the echo is from the lecturer, sir.
No, the system is re-echoing what we have said.
Okay. Can I go on with my question, sir?
Please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you, Prof. This is an insightful one, and I'm saying this is the second time I'm attending this. Professor Adisa Radley took us through this stage almost a month ago, and it was interesting. But the little difference between what he did the other time and what we saw here is the way you impute your data into the AI. Unlike what we learned the other time, Professor Adisa said we can be taking the data one after the other and be imputing it manually. I want us to, if you can stimulate or stimulate what you have done earlier in such a way that the AI has gotten all your data. What you are just giving to the AI was the prompt. That is one. The other aspect of it is if a table is generated, and I want to tag the source of the table, how do I go about it? Take, for instance, there's a study we are conducting on enduring brutality in the line of duty among journalists in Nigeria. So now I used AI as I was taught by Professor Adisa, and we generated a table rather. Then I'm confused. Do I have to tag that table and relate it to ChatGPT? Will it be acceptable? So these are the areas I want you to please clear for us. Okay. Thank you, sir.
Beautiful. ChatGPT is only an enabler. If you are using your own data, you brought your own data to analyze it, either quantitatively or qualitatively. You cite the source of your data. For instance, for every table in thematic analysis, you add below source. You just say author's own work, in bracket, content analysis or thematic analysis. Because you have the data will be in your appendix, the transcript. You only use ChatGPT, NVivo as tool. We call them statistical analytical tool. They are not the one that is doing that thing for you. You own that data. The data belongs to the field or belongs to World Bank or CBN. They are only helping you to analyze. So you don't say the source of that particular data is ChatGPT. However, if you are talking about how you analyze it, so you analyze it using content analysis via AI ChatGPT, or you use SPSS, or you use R. That is what you talk about. But the source is your own analysis through content. The instrument that enables you to do that is ChatGPT, just like calculator. You calculate your arithmetic, you got the correct answer. So people don't need to ask, how did you calculate it? Use scientific calculator, period. So that is what you report. The way you report the normal interview analysis is how you report this. But the instrument you use, you may talk about Atlas, NVivo, or AI ChatGPT. So that is disclosure. I hope that answers your questions. Hello? Can data be extracted? Can data be extracted into Word document as against Excel used here for the data? Yes, but the beauty of Excel is that when you copy on Excel, you know everything will be on the clipboard. If you drop it in the ChatGPT, the line will still be there. The system will still understand that there is line there. But if you put it in Word, if there is no line in the Word, then it may be confusing to the ChatGPT. So that is why I prefer to put everything in Word. In fact, that Excel document, I can also upload it on ChatGPT and start giving it instruction. But for the purpose of training, the way I've taught you is the best so that you don't mix things up. You don't mix things up. So that you follow it serially, one after the other, and you get your reports. Can data be extracted into Word document? Yes. Under methodology, should a research state that yes, you analyze your interview using content analysis or content and thematic analysis, but you use ChatGPT as an enabler to help you do it. And if you don't want to, if you are not really confident, mention, just say you analyze using content analysis and thematic, and nobody will arrest you for not writing it. You know, mentioning the software is part of transparency. NVivo, Atlas, Mazda QDA, or you do it manually, or you use ChatGPT as an enabler. Where ChatGPT is not a problem, in my university we have a policy, it's not a problem, you can talk about it. But in some university, when they hear ChatGPT, what comes to their mind is plagiarism. So you have given all your work to Chat, they score you 0, so it's better you just keep quiet. So that's my advice.
Thank you, Prof.
I have employed ChatGPT in content. I was challenging for failing. I was challenged for failing, at least how to avoid tests. I don't understand that question. I was for failing AI tests. Okay, I just mentioned, if you want to avoid failing AI tests, use the principle of CREP. All the information that you generated, the one that relates to explanation, use your own words. The verbatim, you can't change verbatim, because verbatim is what the interviewee said. Then the table too, if you do it manually, you do it electronically, you use ChatGPT, you are still going to generate table. So just leave the table the way it is. But expression, you can try to polish it, paraphrase those expressions to align with the way you write. And that's what I do. But the basic things, which are the information on the teams, the code, you can't change all those ones. They were extracted from your Excel table verbatim. So you can't fail AI tests in that regard. They are in your Excel already. They are not your word. You generated them verbatim from the interviewees and respondents. So you can't change them. You use them the way you have been given. So don't be afraid of plagiarism and the AI test if you follow the correct principles. Can you share the material? Yes, I will share it with the organizer. Everybody will get it. You are going to get my Excel. You are going to get my slide. Go and try. You are going to get the same result with me. You are going to get the same result.
Mr. Aminu, you can go ahead.
Okay, Prof.
Okay, thank you very much, Prof. I really appreciate this presentation, and I have about 5 questions, but in the course of answering other people's questions, the Prof have answered them all. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. So don't be afraid of the digital footprints. When you follow the principle of CREP, you are going to get it. Even in class, when you are teaching case studies, when you read case study, you can teach your student using ChatGPT for case analysis. They will learn more. They will be more intelligent, more creative. I call it co-creation tool. Don't use it for lazy things. Generate from. No. Provide basic prompt, basic information, basic theory. They now challenge ChatGPT to go and do more for you. By the time you get the result, go back, paraphrase, add your own idea, follow your own style. What you're supposed to do in 2 months, you do it in 2 weeks. So you use the remaining weeks for other things, spiritual, material, and so on and so forth. So that's the beauty of using tools. Paraphrasing often doesn't give you quality alternative word. It does. It depends on what you mean by paraphrasing. If you use machine language, the language most times is sophisticated and they are machine-like. You use things like leveraging and repetition. So when you read the paragraph, use your own. It's very easy to paraphrase machine to your own words. The problem of student is to write. Now, a machine has written for you. Then try to paraphrase. By paraphrasing, you build your own tenses, grammar, and so on and so forth. Most of us have been writing before ChatGPT. The only thing it's doing for us is helping us to boost our information. It's helping us to think outside the box. And it's also helping us to do what machine, that are very expensive, like SPSS and Vivo is doing for us. So if you look at it from this perspective, you won't fall into the problem of plagiarism or what is called AI detection, among others. We have done trials on what we have written with AI and the paraphrasing we have put in, and we drop it into AI tool and also paraphrasing tools. We have seen the result. Even Grammarly today, these days, if you write in your own words and use Grammarly, if you put that right up in the AI detector, it says AI, because Grammarly itself is being integrated to AI now. But the old Grammarly is just a word, algorithm, not linked to the AI. But now, because it's linked to the AI detector is also called Grammarly AI. So even if you write your own words and you use Grammarly to just correct little information, it will still say AI. So the most important thing is be original. Whatever AI gives you, whatever ChatGPT gives you, try to rewrite in your own words, except things that are verbatim. And if they put it in AI detection or turn it in, it won't call it plagiarized word. Your word will be very, very neat. You are going to pass similarity test. Just be original. That's the secret. Be original. Yeah.
Okay, it seems there is thank you, Prof. It seems we don't have any other question on the floor.
So remember to share the material with them. I'm going to share with you because the essence of the workshop is for them to go back. We are encouraging academic excellence for lecturers, for students, so that we all become top researchers, top publishers. We are great writers, but when you use tools, you are going to be greater. And if you are greater and use tools, you are going to be wow. So that's the secret. Good,
you,
better, best, wow. Yeah.
Prof, thank you so much for this wonderful presentation. Please, sir, am I audible?
You are. Go ahead.
All right. Thank you so much. This is really wonderful. I've learned so much. I would like to ask, what has been your experience with journals when it comes to this? Are journals really concerned about AI footprints or AI detection in in what you write? Or they are only concerned about how scientific and factual is what you are writing? What's your take on this?
Yeah. For all the top journals and publishers in the world, like Elsevier, like Elga, all of them, they have what we call policy on AI. None is against AI, whether scientific journal, engineering. What they frown at is for you to ask AI to write for you 100%. But for writing your own words and using AI to extrapolate, to clean up grammar, or to write aspect of the work for you, they accept it. Some, they have what they call disclosure, that if you have used AI in any way, in what way? Okay, is it to clean up grammar, for data analysis? For data analysis, 100% acceptable. Why? Because AI itself is just integrating existing tools. eView, R Studio, PSPP, Jamovi, all this open software, they are integrated into AI analog. Call it analog algorithm rather. So AI is only leveraging what we are used to. What EV is going to do for you is what an interface of ChatGPT for statistical analysis is going to do for you. So you are not doing anything extraordinary. You are not doing anything abnormal. But the problem is some people like AI only for manufacturing. They don't like it in the educational realm because they feel it's going to take the job away from the lecturers. It's going to make the student lazy. That is not true. It's not true. It's only going to make your job faster, better, and neater. So as far as I'm concerned, I'm a member of editorial board of 2 top journals. They don't frown at AI, but you have to be factual on how you have used it. Have you used it to write for 100%? That is unethical. Because what it has written may not be 100% factual. AI also has some level of errors and what have you, repetition, misinterpretation. So if humans, as experts in your field, you have written your work and you are now use AI to help you source credible materials, among others, to develop a data extraction table. All these are ethical, all these are allowed, all these are acceptable. So that is my comment on that.
Thank you so much, Prof.
Hello, Prof.
Yeah.
There's a question in the chat box where a participant asks that, it is always said that when you use, I think maybe the unpaid version of ChatGPT, that your data will be used to train the AI intelligence. So that in that case, is it not a breach of like novelty, because the idea will be disclosed to others? So what is
the first thing is any data you put in AI, maybe your Excel and what have you, is not storing your data, but only learning from your data. It's not storing it. And that is why if you use a particular data on your ChatGPT, in future, if you want to, if you don't know where you have used it, and you ask ChatGPT to get it, to tell you that it can't get you, that is not storing it, except you know when and where you have used it. So it's not storing your data. That's number one. Then secondly, the way ChatGPT is designed is learning from you. You're also learning from ChatGPT. Some of the instruction I've given ChatGPT is a language command. It has stored it in its memory. In future, if Muhammad Mustafa asks such question, ChatGPT actually now understood what it means. The reason is that it's been trained in language, and we frame our question in different ways because we are different English speakers. So the more people interact with ChatGPT, the more it becomes versatile in the language used. At times you ask ChatGPT to conduct content analysis for you. If you don't write that particular statement well, and you, instead of content, you wrote maybe context, it's going to analyze context analysis, not content analysis. So if you now explain to ChatGPT that this is not content analysis, this is context, but I said context. Now, it will not be able to discriminate between what is called context analysis and content analysis. If you ask ChatGPT to analyze using storytelling analysis and discourse analysis, so if for the first time you need discourse and it's giving you storytelling, once you correct ChatGPT that this is storytelling and not discourse, automatically it's going to put that in his brain. In future, if somebody asks about discourse analysis, it's going to give you that particular answer. And that's the reason why OpenAI employ people from different fields, those who are lawyers, to train ChatGPT in legal language. They employ philosophers to train ChatGPT in the language of philosopher. And the next thing, they are now buying database of journals, Journal of Philosophy, Journal of Economics, Journal of Mathematics. Do you know the reason why they are buying all these database? Is to put it in the brain, in the algorithm of ChatGPT, so that if philosopher wants to do anything on ChatGPT, ChatGPT will be able to analyze that thing using philosophy data, philosophy language. So they continue to build that particular database. For those of us who are Muslim, just try to ask ChatGPT to provide a particular verse in Arabic, in English, and in your own Hausa language. Try it to now. It's going to give you. The question is, how did ChatGPT come to know Arabic, English, Hausa, Yoruba? If you ask even Yoruba, that give me this thing in Yoruba and put even the syntax, you know, do, mi, do, is going to put it. Some people train ChatGPT to understand that. So, and the training is still continuing. So whatever you do today is going to internalize it, put it in its own brain. So you are benefiting, it's also benefiting from you. So that is the way it works.
Okay. Thank you, Prof, for the lecture. Really appreciate, you have really done well. And I think most of the participants really gained from the lecture. We are using this opportunity to say that maybe at another time we are going to invite you, maybe for an extended session on this or on another topic, so that you can come and share your wealth of experience as a researcher, as a member of editorial board of top journals. We really appreciate your effort. Thank you, sir.
No problem. I'm
Then,
always available. Yeah.
You are welcome, sir. So please, our participants, kindly subscribe to our YouTube channel so that for more updates on our upcoming programs, you can get the alert when we post it on the community, on the YouTube community, or when we start any program. So kindly subscribe to our YouTube channel. Also, the video recording will also be available. We are going to post it on various platforms. And also, you can also watch it. You can also watch the live session on our YouTube channel. So kindly subscribe to our Client Aspire YouTube channel. And we equally thank you for attending the program and also answering questions where necessary. We are going to share, for those of you that have shared your email, we are going to share the information with you. However, if we intend to collect certificate for the program, we are going to pay a token of 2,000 Naira. If you are interested, that one is optional. But the lecture and the other thing is free. So at this point, we are going to come to the end of today's session. As I've said earlier, kindly subscribe to our YouTube channel to get update on our programs, to get update on our research, on our research webinar. So thanks.